Welcome to the latest Spain news update. Welcome back to the channel Spain Unlocked. My name is Anna and today we are here to share with you the latest Spain news update. Every once in a while we will be updating you on the situation in Spain, everything that is going on, and useful news for all those who want to relocate to Spain very soon or those who recently arrived to our sunny country. Today we will be talking about some teeny tiny lies or not entirely truth that you can find in different announcements of property for sale in Spain. Why more and more people each time have several jobs instead of just one, especially self-employed ones. And the last news will be about the Declaración de la Renta, which is the yearly tax form that we fill in every single spring for the previous year. Let's go. First of all, let's talk about the teeny tiny lies in terms of announcements of real estate sale on different types of websites here in Spain. Apart from the fact that a lot of the times some, not all, but some real estate agents will not tell you the truth about the neighborhood, about how close it is to the beach, especially if you don't know the area, if it's a good neighborhood or not. Some people just feel like they have to sell you the property and they don't care about anything else in the world. And a lot of the times, especially now, the announcements state great opportunity, great value for money, don't miss it. Or for example, great offer, an apartment with touristic license. This is one of the main key points. They make it look like a gift, like it's something that you have to purchase because, oh my goodness, it has a touristic license. But not all people know. Nowadays, it doesn't really matter if the apartment had a touristic license, because when you will purchase it, it's not going to be the case automatically anymore. And a lot of real estate companies do not change it or do not tell it to potential buyers to avoid actually missing the possible selling contract. What is going on is that up until 2024, the end of 2024, which was just a few months ago, all these properties that had touristic licenses attached to them had the licenses on the property itself, not on the name of the owner, but attached to the property directly. So whenever someone purchased a property, well, they've had it for them automatically. You didn't have to ask for a touristic license any longer. You had it already. So you could keep renting it to tourists, hassle and stress free. Nowadays, it's not the case anymore, because once you purchase a property, the touristic license doesn't go under your name. What you will need to do is you will need to go to the town hall, pay the tax once again, and submit the paperwork as if it would be a new license. And there is the kick to it. It doesn't mean you will receive it. There is no guarantee whatsoever that even though this property had a touristic license before, you will receive it as well as a new owner of this property. And why, you will ask? First of all, there is change in regulations and norms. Sometimes different villages and towns decide that it's not enough anymore to have this, but you need to add a private parking to it, or you need to have a separate entrance, then it will be allowed, or you need to have this and this, then it's allowed. If you don't have it in your property, you cannot rent it out for tourism. That's how it works. And also, a lot of our areas such as Benidorm, Alicante, Altea, Alfaz del Pi, Albir, which is the village where we're located, are tension markets, which means it is a tensional area where rentals long-term are way higher than they should be, and prices for properties are higher too than what it is actually worth. So, as a result, in these areas, there is an absolute stop of new licenses. Alicante said that 2 years they will not be issuing any new touristic licenses. Alfaz del Pi and Altea said it's slightly less, it's 1 year. Benidorm, another 1 to 2 years time. They've stopped issuing the licenses, which means that there is no guarantee whatsoever. However, real estate companies, some of them, not all, once again, there's great real estate companies here, but Some of them still try and persuade people somehow that, oh my goodness, it has touristic license. But when you actually start asking, they say, oh no, but well, you will need to go to the town hall, you will need to do this and this and that. And at the end, it doesn't really matter if it has it. It's not a selling point. Once again, it's not a selling like gift any longer. It's not worth anything because you won't be able to use it. Simply, that's as simple as it is. And you will need to renovate it every 5 years, and you will have no guarantee that in 5 years it will be renovated if the law changes back again and you will not meet already all the necessary requirements. So the situation with touristic rentals is very delicate, it's very difficult, and in these cases I do recommend you to actually contact a professional so that you will be assisted in your particular case to avoid issues happening afterwards and not being able to rent out whatsoever, while all the main purpose you've purchased it for was the investment in short-term rental. So be very careful with that. Don't believe everything that is said in these announcements. The second news I wanted to share with you all is about an increase in several jobs in self-employed sector. Obviously here in Spain, as in a lot of other countries, there is a self-employed person who works for himself, which is the case of business owners, businessmen, businesswomen, those who decided to start their own business startup or just work for themselves as programmers, IT specialists, software engineers, and much more. And then there's others who work for someone, which are not self-employed, which means that they work for some specific company, not for themselves as it is, and they have a work contract. What happens is that nowadays almost 27,000 of self-employed people here in Valencian community already have several jobs, which is curious. And even though we were used to see it in specific sectors such as private and public health, many doctors that work in public health, they also do give consultations privately in private hospitals and clinics. And the same might happen with a few other workers that do work in a public and a private sector, like teachers, tutors, etc. Then there's also programmers, software engineers, designers, consultants, like us, for example, who have their own business, who work for themselves, but then at the same time, if they receive a good offer, they might be consulting other companies and have a contract with them, a work contract. Or they might have a contract with an IT company, with a software engineering company, to work for this company while parallel working for themselves and doing different independent projects. And this was very common. But nowadays, other self-employed people started to have numerous jobs, and there are a few reasons why. First of all, obviously, if people need some more money, if they want to save up for something like a house purchase, car purchase, traveling, if they just want to get some extra money and they have some spare time, people tend to have several jobs, at least one extra one to the main that they have. And the second one is obviously that some self-employed people, especially those who work in a service sector, those who have like a shop that sell accessories, something inside of the city, they've seen that the amount that they are producing, the benefits of the business have decreased a lot. Why? Because a lot of the things, it is possible to purchase them online, and it doesn't make any sense to waste time and actually go to a shop. And this is one of the sectors that suffers the most right now in Spain. Thus, to be able to afford a living in our country, people are forced to get a second job. And obviously also in general, the cost of life in Spain, it increased. It might be not as much as in some countries, but still it's more than it used to be. And some salaries, all salaries basically, what we're telling about, all salaries, they just do not grow fast enough with the inflation. And they can adjust to prices at the same time. Thus, people need to gain some extra money from somewhere to be able to survive and maintain the same lifestyle, the same habits and costs that they were incurring before, to be able to pay for them. And this is why many self-employed people are forced to get a second job, at least one more, to be able to survive and pay for everything that they need to pay to get some food, to pay the bills, to pay for the rent, which is ridiculously high in some areas right now, and basically to survive, especially if you have children. A second job for some self-employed people is a must. Those who mostly get second jobs are 2/3 of them are men, so the vast majority. Why? Because traditionally still it is the case that women stay with children. For women it's slightly more difficult because you have a household, you have children, you have groceries, you have extracurricular activities, and if you work, getting another job is too much. So usually men are 2/3 who do it, and the average age is between 36 and 55. Also, good news is 10% of all the self-employed here in Spain are foreigners. They're not Spanish, which means that every time more and more those who are relocating to Spain are trying to open their own business or trying to get a job and integrate in the country, a better life, quality life, safe life, and better future for ourselves and for our family. These people do integrate themselves and do seek for a job opportunity and try and reinvent themselves, open up businesses, and provide a lot of things, plus their taxes and income, to the economy of this country. But second job here now doesn't sound as crazy as it did a few years ago. Let us know if in your country it's something usual and more typical than here in Spain. Very soon, in just a question of days, at the end of this week, beginning of next one, Monday, Spain starts the annual tax form. Usually we fill in taxes from beginning of April up until the beginning of summer. This is the time that we have to fill up the taxes from last year, 2024. It always goes for the previous year, same as in US and a lot of other countries, I suppose. Thus, we have time to fill up these tax forms to see if we are entitled for a refund if we paid too much, or if on contrary we paid lower than what we should have, and then we need to pay slightly more to the national tax entity. How it works is that in every single part of Spain it is different. Each autonomy, which is comunidad autónoma, autonomic region, each region has its own possible deductions. For example, if in one you're able to deduct a gym, physiotherapist, ophthalmologist, like eye doctor, if you're able to deduct dentist treatments, in others it is not the case, but you're able to deduct other things, but just not these ones. Healthcare, private even healthcare, maybe some children's care centers like preschool or nurseries. All these things you might be able to deduct in your tax forms. And there's also one major thing that people can deduct, which is rentals. All those of you who are maybe property owners already in Spain, or who are planning to become property owners in Spain and are willing to rent out your property long term to families, then you're lucky, because in some specific occasions you might deduct up till 90% of all the income you've had and not to pay taxes on it. How does it sound? It is not as easy as it looks though, because all the contracts, rental agreements long term that were signed before 26th of May 2023 have an automatic deduction of 60%, not more than that, which is still more than a half of what you should pay. You're paying just 40% of what you should. Then we have new contracts from 2024. These contracts have deductions up till 90%. In which cases 90% will be if you have a renewed contract or a new contract where, in comparison with the previous one, you've lowered instead of increased. You've lowered the price of rent by at least 5%. Then, if you can show it legally on paperwork signed, then you will receive a 90% deduction to your tax that you should have paid from all the income that you've obtained from the property rent. Long term, once again, short term, not applied, sadly. Then if you didn't lower the price, but you have tenants who are between 18 and 35 years old, then you are entitled to deduct up till 70% of all the income you receive from them. If you've changed completely the property, if you've cleaned it up, if you've made refurbishment, renewal, totally renewal, and then you rented it out, you will be entitled to 60% off. And in all other cases from 2024, it's 50% of the tax payment, which is definitely great. The government is trying their best to incentivize somehow to make people want to provide their property for a long-term rent, because the situation is very difficult. It is dramatic, I would say. In our country, we have a lot of demand, but very, very little supply for rents. And touristic rentals are not the ones responsible. As many people might think, the occupancy, illegal occupancy of properties, this is the main responsible part, that we do not have so many properties on long-term rent any longer in our country of Spain. Thus, government tries its best, but while we don't have any specific law helping us out with illegal occupancy, things might be the same. There might be a slight change with these bonifications, with these deductions on taxes for some people, but overall, I don't think it will save our country, and it will increase so much the amount of properties on the market so that we could say, okay, we've recovered our long-term rentals market. Let us know what you think here in the comments down below. And don't forget, if you need any kind of help regarding relocation to Spain, private health insurance, bank account opening, padrón in the town hall, residence permits, and much, much more, property purchase or long-term rent, feel free to contact us with the details down below. We will gladly help you out to relocate to Spain and start your life here, hassle and stress-free. Thank you for accompanying us in today's latest Spain update. We'll see a new video here on the channel very, very soon, this Saturday. Goodbye.